All right. Sounds like we've got our technical difficulties figured out here. Hello, everybody. I am Swift. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Major League Hacking, and I could not be more excited to be here with y'all to have a wonderful discussion with our friends over at GitHub about open source, about Hacktoberfest, about using AI to make your first contributions and be an even better open source citizen. Um, for those of you who are just tuning in, this is one of a series of streams I have been doing throughout the month of October as part of DigitalOcean's Hacktoberfest. For those of you who might not know about Hacktoberfest, it's a month-long celebration of all things open source that have been organized primarily by DigitalOcean and a number of other partners like Emulich and GitHub over the years. The goal is to help as many new contributors and maintainers join the community as possible. We all depend on this software every single day to power every facet of our life or our work. And we want to make sure that there is a generation of great contributors out there who have the exact skills to hit the ground running to maintain all this software that we literally all are counting on every day. Today, we're going to be talking specifically with the GitHub team. I've got two wonderful guests who I'm going to pull up here in a second to introduce themselves. But I have had the privilege of working with the GitHub team, especially the education team at GitHub, for the last 12 years, believe it or not. I've watched them go from just a twinkle in the eye to one of the most impactful organizations for student technologists in the world. We're going to talk about Copilot. We're going to talk about GitHub, open source, all of these wonderful things. So without further ado, I am going to welcome up my guests. We have Morgan and Phoebe joining us. How are you?
Hello.
Hello.
Amazing. Well, we're so excited to have you. Happy Hacktoberfest to both of you. I'd love to start with some intros. And folks in the chat, we are going to be taking some questions throughout the stream. So if you have those, toss those on the chat and I'll keep an eye on them. But Morgan, why don't we start with you? Would you give us a little bit of background? Who are you? Where are you working? And tell us a little bit about your journey into tech and open source.
For sure. And yes, to Swift's point, we love questions. Our chat today will be really conversational, so we will definitely want to hear what y'all are thinking about and questions that you have as we walk through some of the demos we're going to do. My name is Morgan. I have been at GitHub for about 3 years. My journey comes from the world of like higher education and a little bit of art as well. I have 2 art degrees and kind of like swiftly after that, like transitions into education. I worked at universities for about 10 years and then worked at a couple of ed tech boot camps, which kind of got me into the tech world really. I see it as like a really great, basically from the ed tech boot camps, it got to GitHub, and I see it as kind of like a melding of like basically all of my career up until then, because I always wanted to support and nurture students, educators, and creative folks, and which I was doing in higher ed for a long time, and then was bit by the world of tech and open source, and was able to find my way to GitHub. So I am the senior program manager for partnerships and resources at GitHub Education. We are a small but mighty team that includes Phoebe, and our primary goal is to support the next generation of developers, and we do that through empowering students, educators, and schools, and partnering with amazing organizations like MLH in order to do that. So I kind of at my job oversee a lot of the resourcing that we are able to provide for students, including things like the Student Developer Pack. But we are really excited to chat with y'all today about how you can leverage some of the benefits from, and just kind of like the regular things that are just on GitHub that you may not know about, to really kind of like jumpstart your career journey, your job search journey, your open source journey. And yeah, we're really excited.
Amazing. Well, Morgan, we are stoked to have you here. I love your background in art as well. I've always thought about coding as this like artistic medium and expression for me. So that just really speaks to me too. And it's been such a privilege to work with you on serving the next generation of developers through GitHub and MLH. We also have Phoebe. Phoebe, you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background, what you do, and your journey into tech and open source?
Yeah, absolutely. So, hey, everybody, my name is Phoebe. I manage programs for the GitHub Education team, mostly on the outreach side. So things like marketing, our campus experts program, and some of the products that we provide to schools, teachers, and students. I formerly was at DigitalOcean. Oddly, fun fact about me, I used to manage Hacktoberfest from about 2021 to 2024. So I've been at GitHub now for about a year. And I started out just doing a boot camp, a 6-month boot camp with Galvanize, and worked kind of my way up the ladder from there. I've always been heavily involved in community and education. I formerly was a preschool teacher, so I guess it's kind of baked in. But I absolutely love being able to help developers on their journey. It's been a big part of my focus for years now, and it's one of the most satisfying things that you can do is help others, find their path. And so, yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, you are one of the world's leading experts on Hacktoberfest. And so I had forgotten that fact, but now I'm even more excited for that. I want to talk about GitHub a little bit first. And Morgan, maybe I'll direct this question to you. And then I want to talk about Hacktoberfest, and maybe that's a good transition to Phoebe. But Morgan, when I think about the work we do at MLH and I think about Hacktoberfest, I think, a lot of our work is focused on this next gen developer. They're probably a student, or they're definitely a learner. They're early in their journey. They're figuring this stuff out, and GitHub, as far as I can tell, is the center of the universe when it comes to code and developers at all levels. And obviously getting developers on platform makes a lot of sense, but investing so heavily in education and students is not necessarily an intuitive choice for GitHub. Can you talk a little bit about the role that GitHub sees in students in this future of tech, why you're investing so heavily in them, and just to give everybody a little context about why this matters to the organization?
Yeah, there's so many reasons. So I think one thing that you'll find from like my background, from Phoebe's background, from many of the folks' background that like have gravitated towards GitHub Education and our little team, it's folks that love students and love working with students and really want to support people in their journeys and get them like kind of like onboarded to all of the amazing things that GitHub can do. And GitHub is the home for open source. So you'll find just it's where everyone's code is, right? And you'll find all these projects that are amazing that you can contribute to, that you can help kind of like become leaders and maintainers in. And it's a real like democratic opportunity to find what you are really drawn to, find what you're passionate about, be able to contribute to that project as a young technologist, um, and kind of like see the results of that, right? So it's a way to build your portfolio. It's a way to build up your skills, and you could do it in so many different ways. So you don't have to be an expert in a certain language, or you don't have to just, really, like be like an advanced coder. You can contribute to open source by documentation. You can contribute to open source by making sure that like the code's accessibility checks are all in order, things like that. So you could do so many different things. And so it's a really great lead in for students, especially when folks are learning to understand all the different facets of actually standing up like a project or standing up a company. You could see all the code, you could see all the different ways that folks are collaborating and contributing. And there's no better way to learn than with others, and collaborating the way you can on GitHub with a global network or global community of other folks who are also on there is like the best way you could start. We've been really privileged and be able to help like millions of students kind of like get GitHub, learn about GitHub, learn about what they can do on GitHub, and really kind of like be creative, take it from there. And GitHub is so important and so foundational to your kind of like journey and as a career technologist and whatever you're going to be doing as a developer, as a technical program manager, whatever, as a DevOps person, whatever you're going to be. It's so important to have a foundation and know and understand what is going on GitHub. So having the opportunity that's really low pressure to just contribute to projects to gain that foundation is just like invaluable.
I couldn't agree more. And honestly, I had to learn GitHub on the job when I went through this myself, and it was really tough, and I felt like I didn't belong in some way because I'm surrounded by all these amazing professional engineers who just know the platform, know Git so well. I wish I would have had opportunities to learn it as a student. And, frankly, GitHub Education didn't exist when I was a student, but today there's just so much more resourcing out there. And not only is GitHub so important, but like Copilot too, right? Like the way that developers write code is changing. And being able to learn these tools early is such a huge competitive advantage for your career, for your performance, efficiency, success, all of those things. So that's awesome. Love to hear that. Phoebe, I'd love to talk to you a little bit about Hacktoberfest. Like, you've been involved in the event for a long time now. You've seen it grow and change, and you obviously have a lot of context about this world of AI too. Can you talk a little bit about the role of Hacktoberfest in the world from your perspective, and like kind of how you've seen it, evolve over the years?
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know how much the audience knows about Hacktoberfest, but I do recommend, if you don't know much about it, one thing you can do is just kind of Google it, because what you will find is a salad of like craziness about Hacktoberfest. The Wikipedia is really interesting, I think. But essentially it was started back in, I think, 2014, as kind of a way to engage folks into contributing to open source, because there would be like one maintainer maintaining this massive monolithic software, that everybody relied on but really had no help. And so DigitalOcean at that time thought, okay, let's go ahead and help these folks out. And so they developed this program where they would sort of incentivize participation in open source by making it fun, gamifying it. And about in 2020, that worked really well, like so well that in 2020, basically things kind of blew up a little bit. So, and Swift, you probably remember. So one of the things that would happen with Hacktoberfest is that if you contributed a certain number of contributions to open source, you would earn yourself a t-shirt, a free t-shirt. The t-shirts got to be so popular that unfortunately some folks decided to take advantage of this situation and figured out a way to just submit crappy pull requests in order to get a t-shirt, which flooded the system. Maintainers got really mad. There were riots. No, I'm just kidding. Riots. But,
Digital riot. Yeah.
there was all kinds of disruption. And so DigitalOcean really had to rethink their strategy, and they really were engaged with the maintainer community and worked with GitHub to help resolve the issue, along with their partner, Major League Hacking. And so, yeah, like we worked really hard to fix the problem. And then in 2021, we started working on a new method of rewarding folks for participating without a t-shirt. So the current system, as you may see, you'll win digital badges, and you have an opportunity. I think there is a limited opportunity to win a t-shirt this year. They are bringing back the t-shirts this year for a limited number of people. We're crossing our fingers that folks don't take advantage of this situation, but essentially, the more that you contribute high quality contributions, the more that you can earn. And so yeah, so that's kind of a little bit of history about Hacktoberfest. We've all been kind of sitting with bated breath, waiting to see what happens with AI, because we do know that people utilize AI all the time to kind of skip steps. And we were hoping that maintainers would not be experiencing poor pull requests, creating more work for them as a result of AI. I think what we have already started to see, though, is that AI actually does help create better pull requests. So even if people are utilizing it in a way to kind of get around not knowing how to do something, ultimately at the end, the pull request does actually, do something. It helps do something, and so that the AI is helping to make these pull requests a little bit better. So again, we're all crossing our fingers. We're hoping nothing, goes crazy. But, in general, I think that AI has become such a natural part of coding these days. The use of Copilot, especially because it is specifically for development environments, that, the quality of the pull request is better. Now, that doesn't mean that some people aren't, still taking advantage of the situation, but we hope that that won't be the case.
Well, I can say from personal experience, right, that the things that are often on the periphery of making a contribution become so much easier with the context of AI, right? Like writing good commit messages used to be the bane of my existence. Now I can write a really high quality one that actually is pretty comprehensive for, both skimming and, maintaining historical context without needing to read every line of code. Same thing with writing the PR. Often you've done all this work writing the code, and you're like, okay, now I need to write a full essay about what this does and how it works and whatever. So anyway, all of that to say that like I see those advantages. And I think you actually have a demo for us that we can do around Copilot and how we
do.
might
But
use
before
this.
we do that,
Oh, please.
I
Yeah,
just want
no.
to I want to give a little shout out to kind of like why it's so important to contribute now, and
Yes,
kind of like
please.
why now, right before we jump in. And that's because one of our colleagues recently kind of like published a blog, which I will link to, but it's about the graying of open source and the real opportunity for folks 26 and under to begin their maintainer and contributor journeys. Excuse me. According to a 2024 survey, the percentage of maintainers 46 to 60 has doubled since 2021, and the share of contributors under 26 has dropped from 25% to 10%. And there's like a real opportunity because there are all these projects that you can be contributing to that they desperately want like young folks to begin like contributing to, just to maintain the project's continuity. And there's some really great examples of how you can get started, like TensorFlow. They have a contributor ladder. Kubernetes has a contributor kind of like ladder up that you can kind of like track yourself through. And Free Code Camp is also a really great and really kind of like huge project that is that has a really great model for contributing. And there's for good first issues. But what we are going to actually see from Phoebe as she's going to do her demo is, in addition to the other kind of like recommendations I just had, how Copilot can actually help you find and contribute to things. So even like before you're even getting to Copilot helping you with like some of the code or some of the documentation or some of like the pull requests, back it up even more, and Copilot can actually help you even like find the project to contribute to in the first place. So
yeah, I mean, that makes perfect sense. And I think the other thing I have been advising people, especially, you know, early career talent right now in such a difficult job market, is that you have to work in public in many ways in order to differentiate yourself and stand out in the crowd. And by doing this type of work, contributing to open source, not only are you potentially solving this, you know, urgent existential problem that we have as a community around getting more young people into maintainer roles and contributor roles, but also you're building your own track record in a public setting where people
yeah, you
can
have
find
receipts.
you.
They're all
Yeah,
there.
exactly. You have receipts. That's a great way to say it. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Well, I'm stoked to see this. Phoebe, I'm going to pull up your screen here and I'll let you take it away, but I'm really excited to see what you've got.
Yeah. So before I start in on this, I just want to kind of add that as a result of being intimately involved with Hacktoberfest over the last few years, I have had the benefit of seeing exactly what happens when people do contribute to open source in terms of their career arcs. So many people actually do their first contribution as part of Hacktoberfest for open source. And I have seen that career journey develop where people started out just taking baby steps, doing their first contribution, very, very easy, and then developing a relationship with the maintainer, starting to contribute more. As they worked forward in their career, that actually developed into better opportunities, and they made network connections that were really key. And eventually they did become senior developers, engineers, developer advocates, and went on to become maintainers themselves. So I have seen the whole career journey over that time. So without further ado, I will get in here. So one of the things, I guess I'll kind of back out a little bit, and I'll just go to, I guess well, I was going to go to my profile and just show you, but if you go to Copilot, so when you're in GitHub and you are sitting in your profile, up at the top, there's a little character. This is Copilot. And if you click on that, you can start a new chat. And if you haven't used this, I definitely recommend just playing around with it. And what you're going to do is you're going to start by just asking it a question. So how can I find a good first issue to contribute to? And I'll add maybe open source. Does anybody in the audience have like a particular passion that they're interested in? Like, I always think that it helps when you are contributing to open source that you're connecting with the actual subject matter. So, for me, it might be cooking, right? I love to cook. So I might try and find some kind of open source project that maybe catalogs recipes or something like that. For somebody else, it could be music. Does anybody want to throw a suggestion into the chat?
This is a good time to remind everybody, if you do have any questions for the GitHub team, we may have some time at the end to answer those. So please toss those in the chat as well. We'll be curating some of the best ones at the end here. We also might have a small delay on the stream, so we might, let's see. Oh no, we've got a few small delays, so we might want to. Here we go. We got photography. That. There we go. Okay,
we're gonna go with photography. And let's see what comes back. So a lot of times when you're utilizing AI, what I find is that it's really good at kind of inferring what it is that you're looking for. But sometimes it doesn't get it quite right. But here, let's see. Okay, it says, here's a practical, repeatable plan to find a good first issue. Okay, so it's giving us some help on what we need to do. So we need to filter by topic. So we can do like a search query on GitHub. We can use discovery sites.
There's the GitHub Explorer. You could explore specific topics there.
Yeah. But this isn't really getting me exactly what I want, because it's not really telling me the projects that I want. I'm not really seeing anything here that I can actually sink my teeth into. So I know now that I need to do a little bit better of a prompt. So let's see. What language do you code in? Who suggested photography? Is it Python, JavaScript, Rust? Anything?
Almost certainly Python. I feel like that's not only the language of AI, but the language of so many computer science departments right now too.
We can go with Python, yeah.
Yeah, let's go with Python.
I was wrong. It's JavaScript.
Actually, said JavaScript.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
That's a modern
project focused on photography that is seeking good first issues in Python. And let's start there and see what comes back. And it's thinking. I'm probably hitting prime time.
I love seeing I think a lot of people put something into an AI prompt and then they just expect to get the right answer. But I think that the first takeaway I'm getting here is this iterative, okay, I need to tune what I'm getting and ask the right question.
Yes.
Seems to be a really important takeaway here.
Yes. I mean, in essence, all of us are going to have to become really excellent prompt engineers in the future, because the better questions that we ask, the more we can get quickly the answer that we're looking for. Now, I'm not sure why it's taking quite so long, but
it's really thinking about it.
Yeah,
here we go.
It's really doing its job. Okay, so I searched GitHub for open source issues labeled good first issue in Python and retrieved a page of results. Below is the full list. So let's see here. We've got update the missing game jumble word and README. My dashboard button is not positioned correctly. Okay, so this time it's really not giving me, these are all different kinds of projects, it looks like. But it isn't specifically related to photography. And so this is sort of interesting to me. So maybe what I might do is I might do a little more digging and say, can you find any open source projects that are focused on photography? And we'll see what comes up. And then from there, we might be able to dig down a little bit further. But as you can see, essentially, you're having a conversation. You want to keep asking questions until you kind of get what you want. I will say that photography is not one of the topics that is very I guess proliferous in terms of there's a ton of them, but it looks like there's about 30 here that they've returned. Photo Prism.
Yeah, stock resources.
Yeah.
Open source
actually, there's a lot of good stuff in here. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, let's
yeah,
take
these
the
are
top
great.
3.
Okay.
And then I'm going to say, can you help me find an issue in one of these 3 repos to that I can contribute to? And I'll just link those. And then we'll see what it tells us. And most likely, what it will do is it will say, yeah, sure, this project has a certain number of things. So we'll probably end up going there here shortly.
Yeah.
This is the thing that's so fascinating about this is this used to be such a manual process. Like
Oh
imagine
my
the
gosh,
effort to
yes.
go out and
It's so
find all of the photography focused best is like repos, and then to go into each of them and find the issue that works for you. And I have to imagine there's other strategies here. Like you could be like, oh, I want to find something in documentation, or I want to find something that's like a bug fix or a feature, and that might even help you get better results when you're querying it.
Right. Yeah, like
For
so
sure. And then
here.
if you see at the top there, there's the contributing guidelines that are at the top of most of these open source projects, where you could just find kind of like either what they're looking for or how you can contribute.
I love this too. I love when people put like non-technical, like you can help out a project even if you aren't contributing code, which is really fantastic. Here are some GitHub issues that they've listed here. I feel like this is all really helpful. But I think, let's see if Copilot shared anything.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Okay. It said photo prism issues. It
71 issues.
I searched the 3 repositories you listed, collected open issues labeled help wanted, good first issue. So it remembered that I was looking for a good first issue, which I like. And then you can consider contributing to these.
So it's like kind of curated it for you, right? So you could really, if
Yeah.
you wanted to, say, give yourself a goal of, I want to contribute, 5 times this week. You have a curated list here of all of the
Yeah.
good first issues where you could start that are open, that are seeking good first issues that are labeled help wanted. Like it's done for you, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
then again, this was such a manual process before, going into every single repo, finding the good first issues, filtering down,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like if you just kind of like actually prompt a couple times in Copilot, it could just give you the plan basically.
Yeah. And one thing too that I think is really wonderful about Copilot is you can enable Copilot to essentially, anytime you make pull requests, is to document them out for you. So you don't actually have to spend all that time writing out what you did and what changed. The Copilot will just do it for you. It just speeds it up. It's so fantastic. So
Yeah, and you have to review it and approve it, but it's like it saves you so much time.
yeah. So that's kind of pretty much my short little demo here of kind of showing you how, remember to ask really good questions, like, and give it as much information as possible. Like if you want to even start by doing something like you tell it right up front, like I could start a new chat. I'm a beginner, if I could spell. I'm a beginner developer in Python and Python. That's a different language. That is looking for a good open source project that I can contribute to, and we'll just see if it has any other recommendations for us.
That's awesome. We
Yeah.
did get
So
one question in the chat that I don't know if we know the answer to this or not, but Way, actually one of our awesome coaches in MLH, was asking whether we're using whether Copilot's using the GitHub MCP server under the hood to find these projects. Do we know?
that's a good question. Let me.
Well, the default model for Copilot is, you can see in like whatever the chat is there. So it's using GPT Mini. I'm not sure if it's actually also pulling from the MCP server. I don't think so, not for chat. not for
I know that
personal
something we've been
content.
doing a lot at MLH Hackathons actually recently in the Copilot workshop is showing people how to use the GitHub MCP server, which is actually really powerful. If you haven't checked it out, I would definitely encourage it. It's actually one of the better and easier to use MCPs out there.
Yes,
For
much more
sure.
useful for when you're in VS Code and actually coding, but
Yes.
for chat, you could, yeah, for chat, not as crucial. Easy
Yep.
here.
Yep.
Yeah.
So GitHub Copilot on the web is also a hack that most people don't know about, and they think, oh, I have to use VS Code to interact with Copilot. But actually, as we're seeing right now, you can literally go to github.com and access Copilot directly in your browser.
Well, this is interesting. So I just used Copilot to answer that question,
You did?
just because I did. And so I said, when I look for open source projects utilizing you, are you using MCP server under the hood? And it said, yes. When you interact with me on github.com and ask about open source projects, code
There you
issues,
go.
or repository details, I utilize the GitHub MCP server under
There you
the hood.
go. I was right.
Amazing. Well, that's a great question, Wei. Oh, and we got our answer just in time here.
Practical, low friction plan and a curated list of beginner friendly Python projects. Look at that.
All right. Look at that, Copilot. You're killing it.
Yeah. So here we
Oh.
go.
Oh, also great recommendations.
I know. I love this one. This one's a
Yeah.
classic.
Yes.
And Flask, that's great.
Mhm.
Exorcism.
Yep. Request too. Yep. Yeah, these are good.
Yeah,
That's
these are
awesome.
all really great recommendations. Okay, so yeah, I challenge you all to go play around with Copilot and start finding some open source projects you want to contribute to. If you are participating in Hacktoberfest, make sure that you sign up and register and start getting going. You'll get a badge immediately just for participating, which are really cool. These badges are created by the company Holopin, which is a fantastic digital badging company. Big shout out to Holopin, and they're super fun. So yeah.
Also, Holopin founded by members of the MLH community, if I remember correctly, actually as well.
Yes, and actually GitHub as well. So
there you go.
yeah.
Even better, close to home there.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I know we're
family.
at time here, but like I just want to thank both of you for this. This has been such a wonderful conversation. Again, I think these tools are really changing what it means to be a developer, and we need to be thinking about that in the context of open source too. And as a student, this is the best time to learn, right? Like digging in, learning these skills, being AI native from the beginning, such a powerful thing to do right now. And so anyway, thank you for all of your support for MLH, for Hacktoberfest, for open source, for students. It was wonderful to get to chat with both of you today. And to everybody who watched and tuned in today, thank you so much for that as well. But yeah, this was great. I really appreciate it. And I hope y'all got to enjoy it a little bit too.
Thank you
I
so
hope you
much.
found something new. Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, y'all. Take it easy.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Morgan. Bye, Phoebe. Well, for everybody else who's still tuning in, I just want to say thank you for being here with us. As I mentioned up front, this is one of a series of streams I've been doing over the course of the month of October. If you're interested in open source, in AI, in all of these types of skills that are so critically important right now, I'm doing it every Monday and Thursday. The streams are coming out at different times, but usually between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. Eastern time. Sometime in that window. We're announcing them in the MLH Discord as well as on socials. But I hope to see everybody again in a future stream. And I just want to say happy hacking and thanks for being a part of the community. Bye, everybody.